Meanwhile, we are back with 420 People Talk. This time it's only me. Philip, my friend and colleague, he couldn't be here, which is a pity. And I have a great guest tonight, Jo Strømgren. Hi, Jo.
Hello. Thanks. Hello.
I wanted to start with, I have 6 pages, small ones, but something which I didn't know, that after graduation, you've been between 2 things like which you wanted to do, and one was chemical engineering, and the other one, which is even more shocking, I think, for everyone here in Czech, is studying Russian language with the Norwegian military.
Yes. This was in the 80s.
Why?
First of all, you needed to have very good grades, and it was a bit of a prestige to go to the Secret Service educations. And also, I mean, you are not neighbors with Russia, but we have the same border. So we've had problems in the past too with our big neighbor. And there was a big issue before, you know, in the Cold War to learn Russian and work in the military. And I'm happy now I didn't do that, because it would meant that I would be many years up in the north, probably with in the very cold winters, spying on the other side of the border and not doing much interesting stuff.
But the reason was to like intercept, or like to learn Russian language would be to understand.
To understand and talk fluently, and then within the military service, either as agent or on the border or translators.
So you would have been like a James Bond.
Yeah, maybe that was the dream. Yes, but afterwards, later, I've been a lot in Russia, and this kind of interest for the language, at least, has been kept alive. And yeah. It's like the country I love and hate at the same time.
Right.
And sometimes we forget, it's always like, it's very far away, this big country. But for me, myself, I'm part of the West, per definition, and history. But we have the same border. So it's like we're neighbors, just like Sweden and Denmark and Finland, you know. We are also neighbors with Russia. So it has been a long time interest of mine.
To do that.
Yeah.
Well, the second part of that story is that then you went to Madrid.
Yes.
Like an exchange student, and you fell in love with the flamenco.
Yes. I mean, in those...
¿Habla español?
Sí, hablo castellano como una metralleta, like a machine gun. But it's. I mean, I love these teenage years where anything is possible. You may have a plan, but it always changes.
So this, we're talking 18 years old.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this was also the second part of the charming my teenage years. It was in the middle of the 1980s, which I'm so happy about that, because I feel now that maybe that was the last decade where we had optimism. Everything was possible. We could save the world, and we could be anything you wanted. Afterwards, you got the irony generation and all this. And today, people don't seem so curious and eager about the world. You know, it was, and it was always before internet. So, like, what is Spain about? I have no idea. I have to go there to find out. And so I got to Madrid in a period where I think actually the city was exploding with culture and parties and crazy ideologies and stuff. So, and I passed by this sign. I mean, that was like the second week I was there. Escuela de Danza, like a dance school. I was like, maybe I should try that.
But did you, until then, you had nothing, no dance, no...
Just a little bit before in my hometown, small hometown in the north of Norway. You know, it's like, I come from the Ostrava of Norway. And just, you know, being one guy in the stupid long tights together with a lot of girls. So it's not like a real artistic experience. It was more just like trying out something new for a change. But the real kind of door to something artistic, and, you know, like maybe I could do this for the rest of my life, and it could be a profession, you know, that came in Madrid.
And it still has a continuation. Then you applied for the Norwegian Ballet Academy.
Yeah.
Ballet Academy.
Ballet Academy, yes.
Ballet.
Ballet, yes.
I need to repeat that a few times.
Yeah.
And you got accepted like this. That's what I understood.
Yeah, but it was
natural talent.
Yeah, no, it's not a natural talent. It was because I mean, you have these big nations. I'm not sure about Czech Republic, but I mean, even though it's like this is the center of Europe, but you have these big nations like Germany and France and England and Denmark with its ballet traditions, and Norway has been the colony for 500 years and has nothing of kind of this classic culture whatsoever. So, you know, ballet in Norway, you know, no one, it was just, you know, weird for me to choose that profession.
And so that,
yeah.
You got in and that changed kind of...
Yeah, so my point is that they needed boys, you know.
But you were 18. Normally those schools, they, you know, start.
I know. It
when
was
you're
like
10.
Yeah, I know. It was like a...
They had a class for people who wanted to be chemical engineers or Russian spies.
Well, they should have.
And here you go.
Yeah, but I think it was, I mean, dance in these, until a certain age, you can form your body and stuff. So, I mean, I chose classical ballet because that was definitely, I thought at that time, was the best training to get the body in shape. For contemporary stuff is, you can move, but you don't build the body, or, you know. So it was a step, because after Madrid, I realized if I'm going to do something in this business of dance on stage for people, and, you know, and those days also, I don't know, maybe still today, it's a lot about being impressive, you know, with being something more than normal people.
Special.
Yeah,
right.
with physicality and you've been working in the Netherlands Dance Theater. It's people like to get kind of impressed. So I thought, if I'm going to make it, I need to find my own style and just do my stuff. So classical ballet was just a step on that ladder.
But you knew you want to be performing or creating? Was that hand in hand, or you didn't care?
I didn't know then,
you know,
but it was like this door and this fantastic world inside. And then, of course, there was this kind of exhibitionist in the beginning. That's maybe also a result of the 1980s too. To
keep showing off.
Keep showing off. But later on, you realize that, there's a lot of things you can say in this art form, and I maybe also coming from a small country also where you realize, okay, the rock musicians and the film people and the writers and in the art of in the culture area, there's been done, so many things have been done. It's difficult to make a good film or write a good novel, but with contemporary dance, I mean, there's so much more to explore. It's so young in Norway, at least in my country.
And was it something like this existing in the 80s in Norway?
Yes, there was, but it was very kind of domestic, small.
But something that you were aware of before you went to Spain, or not?
Not so much. Not so much.
So really,
yeah. So I became a part of this new generation where it's like, okay, we do this. We don't do like the others. We try to find our own style, and we go abroad. So that was my first thought ever. If I'm going to be very special and do my thing, I can't survive in a small country of 4.5 million people. Most of these people living in different fjords and mountains around. So I need to find an audience abroad. So this was kind of a new thing that me and a few others were introducing in my country, just to get out into Europe and other continents as well. This is maybe different for sitting here in Prague. You are in the middle. That's what we think, but
we think so. Also.
Yeah. That's the funny thing. Everyone thinks they're outside the center. Yes. Yeah. But if you are sitting in Norway in January, February, and it's dark and it's snow outside, and when it was before internet also, you really feel this is the outskirt, this is the periphery. We have no contact with what's going on in Paris, and London, and Prague, and.
But you moved a lot around, no, with your parents. Is that?
Yeah, but that was before that. So
yeah, so you kind of knew maybe also what is it like elsewhere.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, becoming an adult is so complex, so many impulses and stuff. But as you mentioned now, I grew up with a father who worked internationally all the time, and so I didn't become international in that sense. That has become later, but I just got at an early age, I got this sense of relativity. You know, everything is relative, and every place is really a center. You know, or people are lonely everywhere. Yeah. God, blah blah blah.
No, about this international thing.
Huh?
Now it's a good time to say.
Yes.
Yeah. You made 150 productions.
Yeah. Maybe a bit more.
Maybe a bit more.
Yeah, I think it was 10 years since I counted that, but yes, it's quite a big number. Yes, with
mostly full evening works.
Yeah.
You've done some playwriting.
Yeah.
Film script writing, puppet theater, filmmaking. You made 3 films. 2 operas, and 1 cabaret.
Oh, yeah, that was a mistake. The last one.
It's not written there, but you told me, so that's why I remember.
Shit, yeah.
Because we talk about the musical business. You are the artistic director of Jo Strømgren Kompani and resident choreographer at Norwegian National Ballet. So that's quite international, I think. Just because you talk about international, and you talk about how you needed to, maybe in the 80s, to go out from Norway, which was not like this here. We didn't know it's even possible. It was a bit different because of the whole Iron Curtain. And your curiosity, it's something that I always find, we always end up having these conversations which we will not reproduce here. But is it something that, does it have to do with creating? Is that what inspires you to create, the curiosity? About like the social, commenting on social aspects, or because you've traveled to many places, do you talk about relevance? So you talk about this is relevant here and this here, but in the same time, everywhere people are lonely, as you say. Is that the inspiring thing? What's
inspiring and the driving force, the will to do something. I feel it's so complex, but now I'm 50, and I've had kind of the chance to look backwards and like, what have I been doing, and have I been doing it well? Is it relevant? And how did everything happen?
Do you do that?
Now I start to do that, yes, but until now it's just been like new idea, new production, new everything, like a dog running for the bone in a way. But I realize now there are few factors. One is, like you mentioned, to be exposed to this international. What was the word? Not the relevance, but the relativity. That there are so many truths out there, different people, cultures. You are not alone in this world. It's this is kind of this relativity about the world, and then it's coming from a small country. Because then I felt I had 2 choices. I can feel like the stupid idiot who doesn't know anything. I know how to ski, fish. I can survive in the nature, but I don't know how to move around in Paris or London because it's so noisy and people talk all the time and all these rules. And also in the art world, you can get the sense of like, I'm inferior. I haven't been part of the history. I'm not part of what's happening. But I decided to maybe that's a positive thing, being the idiot. I haven't seen much, and I've chosen not to see it either, just to be able to reinvent the wheel again and again, knowing what I'm doing in any production is nothing new, but I feel it's new to me, So that gives a sense, has given a sense of is esteem, no, self-confidence.
From not knowing?
Yeah, from being the idiot from the north, from the woods, coming to the big cities and doing stuff. It might sound strange, and I notice now with colleagues, choreographers or theater directors, you know, if they live in, let's say, Paris, I feel there's a lot of people who are like shit scared of doing mistakes. And what do the colleagues say, or the critics, and it's like the career. And it's like, why all this fear? And then I can come to a place like this and like, yeah, let's do this and that. And, you know, not censoring myself and not being afraid. And I think if I fail, well, I just go back to where I come from. You know, so this has made it much more easier to do a lot of different things, trying new things with, you know.
Yeah, but it's not just that. You have a talent, you have a
yeah, but I think
skills, and you have something.
Yeah, but I think it's more important than the talent, because I feel I'm just very ordinary. But I don't block my ideas with I don't censor anything, you know. And I think that is the main reason why I've been doing all these things. Because I see shows, different places, you know, like for small audiences, or in one place and not the other place. But they're like, oh, this is really good. But they don't get out. People don't get to see it, or they're afraid to show it to many people. And, you know, so I feel there's so many mechanisms here. But the confidence, self-confidence is never talked about. It's always talked about talent, or handicraft, or the education,
or something original. I often find that misleading to say about something that it's great because it's new or original. That necessarily doesn't mean much if it's not relevant, as you say. You know, so that's. You don't have that. You're doing somehow. I mean, it's the first time I guess I hear someone saying kind of that you purposely trying to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
That's really.
It's funny also because, like, in the first kind of 10 years, I was working a lot in Germany, the most interesting place on earth. Not, and also touring with our company a lot in Germany, and it was fascinating to see how many reviews over the years was like, oh, it's very inspired by Pina Bausch or Sasha Waltz, or, you know, all these names in Germany. Like, yeah, right. And I was like, who? And I still haven't seen Sasha Waltz ever, because I don't want to. I don't want to have that reference in my life.
Is it because they said so?
Yeah.
Or
but they said so before I'd even seen. And Pina Bausch, I was like, after 10 years, I thought maybe I should check Pina Bausch out. And I saw them that company in Taiwan, in Tchaj-peji, at this theater there. And I was like, oh, so this is what it's all about. Of course, it's dance and theater together, you know.
So that's the reference, dance and theater together.
Yeah, but this kind of, and then I know that, you know. I don't care about Pina Bausch or Sasha Waltz or anyone. I care about Netflix or walking the street, or, you know, like talking to people, or, you know, a bad commercial is much more inspiring than reading an analysis of something, you know. So I think that confidence that comes out of that, not caring about being smart, maybe. Yeah.
Yes. Jo Strømgren is the Thor Heyerdahl of dance.
Oh, that was a review once, a long time ago, yes.
Just like an explorer, he throws himself uninhibitedly between various mental landscapes, curiously investigating humanity's loss of direction and its need to create contexts. That's actually very beautiful.
Yes. The funny thing is that I don't remember things being said or written, but that particular one that you found there, I remember.
That's flattering, no?
Yes.
That's like explorer. Yeah. That's the nice thing. I mean, he did something what they did before, right?
Yes.
Constructing this.
So I agree.
Boat,
I agree
go
with
somewhere.
Yeah, I agree with what you mean is positive about that. That there is a sense of relevance and necessity to what's around us, and not not like American dance, which is about shape and symbols and stuff, and some other places. It's not ideology or concept in the sense, but it's interhuman issues, things that we think about, or I can't. No matter how bad the show is or how unoriginal, it always has to do something about what I'm thinking about these days. When I'm sitting alone smoking. What do I think about? The shows have something like that always. But the funny thing about that one was this was from a Swedish newspaper with a critic that had for years been slaughtering all my shows. Always the worst critic.
What changed? Yeah.
And then we did this one production. I won't mention which, but then it was perhaps the worst production I've ever made because we didn't finish. We didn't get to. Nothing happened in the show, and we had to tour all around the world with it because we had sold it beforehand with a show that wasn't finished. That was the only time I deliberately had to do like, okay, it's not a show. I'm not satisfied, but if we really emphasize on this is contemporary dance, maybe people can watch it and wonder what it's about. Because I've seen many other contemporary dance shows where it's very unclear. But that unclarity also makes the audience wonder and think and interpret and think further, the depth. So I thought, okay, let's hide behind this contemporary depth. And we know ourselves that we don't know what we're doing. That's the show that critics saw. And this is what triggered her imagination. Which is kind of a bit stupid and funny in a way, but at the same time, it gave me something to think about because, if it's too clear, people stop associating and thinking further. If it's the right type of unclear, it can trigger a lot.
But then you say you decided to kind of market it as a contemporary dance. And also you talk a lot about programs, like the information in the program. Do you think audience should read what the show is about? Before they see?
I have no kind of clear answer to that, but I believe that if an artist or a company, choreographer, wants to say something in front of, before a performance, it is kind of part of the performance.
Right.
So if I'm given a program, I think, okay, I should read it because this is part of the whole ritual. But then I feel it's a bit of a waste of attention also if people make programs that are just flattering words about themselves or, it should be, once you give the audience something in the theater, it should have something to say, So, yeah, we always have, I always insist on saying something
about the piece.
About the piece.
What you are going
Same
to
as
see.
when people, before you see a film on Netflix, you read a little what it's about, or the book, you always read what's in the back. Some kind of taste of it. Or the menu, you like to see a picture of the Chinese dish you're ordering. Just to get the hint.
You get something completely different. That
of course.
Also, but that's like
that could be a trick also, yes. So I'm a bit also provoked by people who's like, no, I never read the programs because the art should speak for itself. Yeah, but that's just something you say. Do you say that?
I don't say that, but I try not to. When I go to see dance show, I try not to read the program.
Yeah.
But also, I guess because I want to be intrigued by something that I don't read or I don't know. I want to have this unknown experience. Because I feel like I have less and less of that.
Yeah, that's true.
So I want to have as much as a tabula rasa.
Yes.
Before I get it in, and maybe it doesn't work, and then I read and then I start thinking. But often I try not to read.
I agree with you, especially more and more now with people. It's also the relationship with the audience. What the expectations. So, I mean, I agree completely with you now. People don't do anything anymore before they know, absolutely everything. They can't go on a date with anyone if they haven't read their profile.
Somewhere, no?
Yeah, somewhere on Facebook. A dating site or Google people. I mean, who meets a date now without Googling or Facebook or, check who their friends are. It's like there's too much information all the time, and also with as dance companies. I mean, the expectations of making all these trailers half a year ahead, so people can actually see the show before they see it. It's crazy. So in that sense, I agree with you in that sense.
But then, do you see when you talk about like, do you see the world? You have a pessimistic view. You said it at the beginning that you're glad for the 80s to be the last decade.
Yeah.
You said something
optimism.
Optimism and everything's possible and travel. And do you find it kind of goes?
We are the world. We actually thought we were going to save the world with concerts.
You thought?
It's crazy. Yeah.
And now it feels going downhill?
Yeah, I feel that, it's like, it's going to hell, with the climate crisis and the wars and the greed and the political systems. And it's like, and now the coronavirus, we don't know where it's from and what happens. It's like all this kind of, at the same time, there has never been as few conflicts in the world as it is now. So it's actually a kind of in one way, a more peaceful place than ever. But at the same time, I think I sense it. I don't know, but then I sense that kind of we don't believe things are going to get better anymore. What was the question?
If you feel like the world is going downhill.
Yeah, the pessimistic. But I think it's...
Or are you being disappointed? Since 80s, are you just being let down?
No. Okay, that is something, maybe that is also about coming from a small place. We're always looking at the world from a distance, Perhaps maximum, if you go to Iceland, they know so much about the world and what's happening. Because they're just like, not looking, but they're reading all the papers, and you're like, it's like a watchtower, and most of the things that are happening around the world is not concerning them because they're kind of safe. So in Norway, it's been a little bit about the same, like famine in Africa. It's like we see what's happening, but it doesn't affect us. So it gives a kind of this overview, not necessarily empathy, but sympathy and an overview of the world. And I think that's but I'm kind of happy to be pessimistic, because one thing is to be pessimistic and depressed, but if you say things are going to hell at one point, but let's just try to manage as well as possible. I see that sometimes it's kind of in the humor also, in this pessimist humor. I like it much better. English humor, from being the big British Empire, it's going just up. And it's going down to be a third world country. And they don't have much money in the UK. Unemployment and you see perhaps here in Prague all the tourists also. It's not the best people. But then what humor comes out of that working class poverty? I love British humor because it's so sarcastic and dark in a way. It's not like American humor, which is just like, it's superficial, it's...
But humor is such a big part of, first of all, of you as a person, I always find. It's not quite easy sometimes to read.
No,
I know that it's humor, but...
It's very...
No, not humor, that's a bad thing. I know it's funny.
Yeah.
But you are convincing. It's like you testing. And I think that's what I like about you, testing not only the humor, you're testing the people, you're testing yourself, you're testing the environment. You don't have a problem to say in front of everyone something totally unexpected that throws everyone off. And
that's
with like poker face.
It's so complex that also, which cultures do have which codes, this is also a fascinating trip also to move around in different countries and continents and seeing what kind of humor works or not. For instance, I had this kind of incident not so long ago in the United States of America. Where it was another new company, and they're so polite, and how are you doing, and so fine, blah blah blah, and then one of the people in the office asked me when I come in the morning, and it's like, oh, so how do you like the company? And I was like, and I said, oh, they're horrible, and I went to start working. Next day, I come, and it's like this stressful atmosphere in the office because they had some early meetings, how to solve the crisis, because they thought I was serious, you know. And so then I think, okay, sometimes you need to be a bit careful about how to bash out with your type of humor. But I think it's okay to also as in with anything in life, in theater, in dance, also improvising. If you give a lot, then you get a clearer response back. Also, if we are just being polite, you know, I don't say much funny things in Austria, for instance. I don't have much humor because I don't get anything back because they're so restrained.
And there's some countries, then they...
Yeah.
That's one thing, but also that they appreciate your works differently. Do you find that... Can you, like, if you have 10 works running, or 12, 20, and you should go on, like, trip to the whole Europe, you are able to say, oh, this we're gonna perform in Czech, this we're gonna perform in Poland, this we're gonna perform in France. Or is there one work which say it's gonna work everywhere?
That's it. I feel that question is like a matrix. I love that film when they watch all these symbols going down. It's like they start seeing things in it. So I feel exactly that is like a matrix to what is kind of humor level of communication works where, and there are no answers, but I'm constantly thinking about it and then I can say when we have finished a piece, I get the sense of like, no, we shouldn't play this in the UK or America.
You have that,
yeah.
You know.
But I'm sure they will like it in Serbia, you know.
And are you right?
Or Australia, they would love it, or you know, these kind of.
And are you right about that usually?
Usually, now I'm more and more right about it.
Do you get inspired by the place where you work? Like I'm getting towards to talk about why we are here. Like if you know that, okay, I'm gonna make this story about the accident of the let's do it. It's so close.
Yeah, of course it depends. Of course, in what idea you choose and what you want to explore about it. But like now here, the project that we are doing together is a film, and it's kind of universal family problems after someone dies. And it's in a photo studio, and it's at the České televize, and it's in a TV studio. So this could be kind of anywhere. And for that kind of idea, I would love that it's universal. Even in Austria, they would understand it, you know. Wherever there are families and deaths and conflicts within a family, they should understand it. But in other times, if... like last month, a few months ago, I was 2 months in Ostrava with a ballet company there. And with Mahler music, he was born a few villages away. And, I thought, okay, this production has to be Bohemian, you know, or Moravian, or, you know, it has to be rooted in this area. I need to go out in the street and just smell things, you know, or, read a bit and, get kind of...
But you get that feeling while you are there. It's not like pre-thought. No. You get just that feeling. So you come to a place which you don't know, doing creation, which is like starting point also. I mean, you have an ideas, but while you're there, you're still open to realize maybe it should be more about that.
Yes, and that is kind of a side effect of being brought
in there.
Different places in the world with your father. All the time, new places, always being the white person with a big nose, and people are pointing and laughing. And, I've been integrated so many times. So sometimes now in these days in Europe, people are complaining about integration. I think, well, it is hard work. I know I'm white with a big nose, and then, so, but that kind of, that always knowing that what you read in the papers or on Google, yeah, it is true, but it's when you're there, there's always something different. The smell is different. I mean, I had this major awakening. Because our company has been kind of really wanting to go to the uncool places, the strange places, just to get those. And we had many productions already in Iran, for instance.
Yes, I read that.
My first time there, I was like, oh, I'm going to this Muslim country now, trying to read as much as possible. And I even saved for, this was before the hipster period, so I had this very nice moustache just to blend in, you know.
Out of
respect and curiosity and a bit of being a bit afraid also.
Yeah, yeah.
And you get there, and it's completely different from my. Even though I'm smart, I've been reading newspapers every day since I was 7 about everything that happens. So I know the history of Iran well, but being there on the street and talking to people, and it's like, this is and those kind of. I mean, it's the same thing with people. What concepts do people have about Norwegians and Norway? And that's also, I mean, in Norway, you can spot an Italian tourist 100 meters away because he's also packed with clothes and he's going to the North Pole, or he's expecting to see some trolls, while all the Norwegians are there on the skateboard and like anywhere else. It's this kind of thrill of being somewhere. If you have the possibility, it is a luxury to go somewhere else to create But
so basically, you encourage also people to travel.
Yeah.
Because that's like,
yes,
that's how you get to experience things, and that's how you get to compare.
Yeah.
I found that always in Czech important for people to travel. So we complain less. I think we would, as a nation, complain much less if.
Yes, that's.
We travel.
Yeah.
It's not to travel more, because we do travel, but to be
somewhere else.
To make an effort and a decision that it's not convenient 100%. That maybe it's 90% convenient and 10% of, okay, let's push for learning something new or discovering new. I don't know.
It's difficult to define exactly what it is, but it's something of a reference, another reference to compare yourself,
But you need that from within, It's not something that you can decide just like this. It's because then the comfort kicks in. And,
the comfort.
Why
always.
should I do that if I can go to
my own studio in my Slovak 4? But this is interesting in another way too, because going abroad or in another place to get inspired and create something goes against a very important principle that I was taught in my education, and I believe is very common in the art world, to be authentic. Find yourself. It's like this: being local is being universal. So, but I've always been doing this the opposite. I've never touched anything of Norwegian subject. I've never made a performance about skiing or trolls but always looking at something else and being fake. I can go to France and like, oh, let's make a French show about France, or to Russia or something Russian. And we're not from there, but coming this outsider view.
I have something which is makes it's like the typical Norwegian, I guess, easy view on what Norway is.
Uh-huh.
What do you think it is?
I don't know. Holy. Okay, yeah. This is very Norwegian.
I wrote even down the name. Sorry, I want to.
Gudbrandsdalsost.
So speak languages. I'm not sure even if you like it or not.
No, I've these muscles are
thanks to that
from that. Yeah. But that's Gudbrandsdalsost, if it's that, G38. There are many different types of this. This is from cow's milk. I prefer the ones from goat milk or sheep milk, with the same brown color. So, but this is.
I love this thing. I didn't know you can buy it in Prague, so now I'm happy. I know where to buy. And languages.
Yep.
You're so good with languages.
No, that's faking a bit also, but interest for languages.
Interest for
yeah.
languages.
And then from this interest, you pick up a lot of stuff.
But is that part of like trying to say something even as a person, but as a creator, like on stage? You use, because you write the scripts and playwrights and
yeah.
theater, and you're not the only dance creator or choreographer, you're director, writer. Is that also like this need to clarify things or explain things? Does it come, because you can pick up on so many Czech things, you know, even the name of the horse from Popelka.
Jurášku.
Yeah. So, and you know, Křemílek a Bohumurka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's. Yeah, I mean,
like
some people remember the football stars in each country, or the famous wine, or the brown cheese, or you know, but it's. Maybe that also has to do about this international background, being exposed to all these languages all the time, and the sound of. And I had this. There was this moment that was also in Germany, most beautiful country in the world. I was sitting so tired in a shitty hotel room, and I don't know why am I working in Germany again? And it was on TV late at night on this Turkish channel, and I saw this whole Turkish film in Turkish, and they have this kind of very melodramatic way of acting, at least before. And I noticed I was emotionally touched. I was crying, and then like, this is so strong. And I realized I have no idea what they're talking about. Maybe my story on that film is completely different. Maybe it is melodrama, but for me it's Greek tragedy, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, and then that's when I started to work with the nonsensical languages, which is like, it sounds like Czech or French or whatever, but it's just nonsensical. And I thought this might be a funny experiment a couple of times maybe, but in the end now, like 15 years later, and so many shows and so many tours internationally also, I realized that people associate almost more to nonsensical language than hearing
the exact words of the meaning.
And that's like a major personal discovery in that sense. I do work with a lot of understandable text also, but and that depends on what are you going to say. You know, if you're going to say something about something very specific, and it's kind of a debate, intellectual debate that is going on, then you need understandable words. But I mean, seeing theater myself, sometimes I feel like there's just so many words. And Shakespeare, you know, I worked with Shakespeare a couple of times, and it's like, you have to like stop, because this phrase is so deep and poetic. I need to think about it. Stop, you know, it goes too quick. There's so much information to process. While as where you hear something, the sound of, or the look of something is like immediate recognition and possible association. It goes so quick. I mean,
it's also physical, no? So I guess it's close to, if you try to express feeling, I use my hands, or you do, but there's certain posture in the body which create that urgency, and then you don't need to understand sometimes, like
you see an angry Italian man, and you don't need to know what he says.
You know he's angry.
You hear it and you see it, and that can take like 5 seconds, and you get the point. If you do it in the Shakespeare way, you can spend
half an
hour. I'm very angry. Blah 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 blah. Blah. You know, it's immediate. That's and physical. Yes.
Very angry. I am. Yes. Is there a subject or something that you would not cross? Like, do you have a line of where you don't go because you want to provoke, but No, you want to raise questions, not provoke. You're raising questions about nationalities or human connections, society. Do you have a line which you don't want to actually...
Yes. It's nice to be the idiot from the outside looking at contemporary humans, societies, and criticizing with humor and grotesque humor, being serious, but like there is a point. And but if I don't touch anything that is in my own culture's luggage, like making a show about the Sami people, for instance, which is like a black spot on our history. It's one of our national languages, and we've been living side by the Sami people for centuries. No one knows who came here first, but and that's like a dark history. Like any country has some kind of a dark history. But that's kind of okay. I won't touch that because that is it's too
Is it too sensitive?
Too sensitive.
Too close, or is it something that maybe even if you take time to look into the cause of it or whatever, that you still don't have an opinion, the right and wrong, so it's better leave.
And that is also, you go into a project or a show and you make something about that subject, I will then have a lot of historical luggage with me, which will color how people see the show. So, I mean, if a white person in South Africa makes a show about black people, he's a white man, and you see all the history backwards. If I, as a Norwegian, makes a show about the Sami people, they will see history, But if I come from Norway and I make a show about Jamaicans in Jamaica, I'm not white because I'm Norwegian. You understand what I mean? I would wish that if someone was to say something about this, very important about indigenous people in the north. Someone from Australia could do that, or from South Africa. Come up and do some research and spend some time with some people and Norwegian people and make this really about the conflict from the outside. Yeah.
So it works really. It's really works both ways. So you actually would encourage someone.
Yeah, I've already done that. Please come to Norway. Touch our subjects. Don't force us to do it ourselves. And it would be also always healthy to see someone outsider's view on your own problems as well. Of course, they might also misunderstand things. I mean, here, I don't know, I'm sure Prague has been, I don't know how many films you've seen, American films about the communists, and it's been filmed here in Prague, and it's like this, this kind of outside view might be tendentious and wrong. But I was just talking a lot now. Ooh, shit.
It's a different ending than I thought. I had something surprise. I had a little test for you because there's a part of me still admires your knowledge of TV series and things from my childhood. So can I play you a music? It's just something that it was not so difficult to find actually, but I just really would wonder if you can tell me what it is. Really?
Oh yeah,
is that enough?
I've grown up with that.
It's 12 seconds.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't know how this came about, but my childhood, Scandinavian countries, we were in the 70s and 80s. We were brought up on Czech or Slovakian children's shows and cartoons.
I had to write things down about it because I didn't know. So it was Spadla s oblakov. Her name is...
Yeah, I don't know that name in Czech because we always...
the main character.
Yeah.
Maika.
Maika. Sigurno. Yes.
It was written in '77
Yes.
by a Czech guy, actually, which I had no idea. So I love that actually through you, I get to look up these things. And
I spoke to a girl from, which you know well, from Slovakia yesterday. Had a little chat. She was from Slovakia, and she was like, so from the Bratislava mountain? No, from Bratislava. No, she's from the bit up in the mountains. Sure. So the Tatra Mountains, I said. Yes. Oh. And from which village? And I was a deception because she was not from the right one. And I said, have you ever been to Hotel Fis? This is Fis. And I said, Hotel Fis. And I showed her the picture. And it's like, and I said, why do you want to go there? But that's where it was filmed, Michael Sigurno. And that old hotel.
But some of it was filmed in Czech.
Yes, Umenos. This village town before. Almost there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The scenes from where the children had their clubhouse, and there was.
I'm really confessing you have better memory of that than I do of Maika Sigurno.
But the funny thing was that how was this? This must have been now 10 years ago, maybe a bit more. The first time my little company, we were going to Bratislava to perform at this festival. We were 4 actors and me. And the festival, we came to the theater and stuff, and they were asking about, blah, blah. And we were like, cut the crap. We would like to know if you can invite that Maika to the show. And it's like, Maika's good enough, And it's like, well, that's a Czech. No. She's here. She must be here in Bratislava somewhere.
Yeah.
And so we started this process of people trying to find out where she was and stuff. And it was like, after 2 days, a lot of people asking around and stuff, they found her. And they told her that there is like these weird Norwegians. They really wanted to come to see their show because they've grown up with you. And I think she was sick or something. There was something not right in her life at that moment. So we got the message right before we were on stage, like 1 hour before we were in the wardrobe, and someone comes in. They've been talking to her and said, like, she is so sorry, she can't come. But she has printed out a photo of herself as Maika with a signature and personal greetings for everyone. We were like, yeah! So it's I think the people in Bratislava thought it was a bit strange with these Norwegians coming to, strange. Yes, it's.
I think that's a good ending.
Yeah.
Is there anything on your mind?
No. I talk too much.
It's. I'm very thankful that we could do this.
Yep.
I always feel like I get to know the people different than. We don't take an hour like this during a normal day.
No. Yeah.
So that's it. Thank you. And goodbye. See you next time with Philip. Thanks, Jo.
Thank you.